I don't trust you. And that has an impact when you hear that. Why, when someone tells us they don't trust us, does that hit us at a level where, like, what did I do? What happened? What caused this lack of trust? Trust is the basis of relationships. If you say you're going to do something, do I believe you? If I say I'm going to do something, do you believe me? There's this quote from this book, Trust and Inspire. As I was reading it, really hit me. It's possible to have two trustworthy people with no trust between them. Man, it's like, how does that happen? How are people worthy of trust and not extended trust? There's three things that I know to be true when it comes to trust. First one, trust isn't just about character. It's also about courage. It takes courage to trust somebody. I can be honest, I can be reliable, I can be full of integrity, but if we remain guarded, and the book talks about this, if we remain guarded, if we're controlling, if we're afraid to let others step up, if we're afraid to let go, if we say things like, nobody can do it the way I can, why doesn't anybody take care of people the way that I do? If only they could do this, then I would trust them. Ultimately, trust is a decision. Be courageous when it comes to trusting. You will go so much farther, and yes, some people may burn you. That's going to happen whether you choose to trust or not. Trustworthy people can still have low trust if neither person is willing to go first. If you're waiting around for someone to demonstrate trust first, you may be waiting for a while. And how long are you willing to wait? The second part is low trust often comes from fear, not from a lack of value. Sometimes we withhold trust because we've been burned before. How many of you have been burned before? If you've been a human and in relationship with anybody for any period of time, at some point you've been burned. And maybe it's a small way, maybe it's in a massive way that you're finding it really difficult to recover from. Be open to loving again. Be open to trusting again. There are so many people in life, in this world, that are worthy of trust. Go out there and look for it. Don't just base it off of what you've been burned before in the past. That's going to make a very isolated way of living, of feeling, of loving, of building something when you're doing it alone. Another reason is that we withhold trust is we fear losing control. Man, as we trust somebody, if we're doing this trust thing well, it means that we are assigning ownership, letting them know what the win looks like, letting them know, hey, this is what success is in this way, whether it's with your kids, whether it's with a loved one or a spouse, whether it's with a team at work. There is a loss of control when you enter into a relationship and you are trusting people. So there's a huge fear about that, especially if you are more of a controlling type of person. But we all, to an extent, don't love losing control. We want to influence things. And when we can influence people and we can trust people and we are together accomplishing a goal, so much more powerful way to live, to get ahead in life, to deepen relationships. So I would just encourage you to let go of that control. Another reason is, man, we truly believe at the core of it that we can do it better or faster, whichever one of those is true. And sometimes at first that is 100% true. But when we trust, when we let go of the control, when we empower people right, when we communicate well, eventually it will get done faster by us not doing it ourselves. Multitasking in so many ways is a myth because there's only so much attention we have, only so much skills that we have, and other people are better at some things than you are. Maybe not everything, there's things you do well, but there are people that have gifts in areas that you have gaps. So how can you find that? How can you align yourself with people in life, in teams, in business that will fill in gaps that you have? 100%. I've got gaps, and you do too. And there's also a fear of being disappointed. We have low trust stemming from a fear of, we just don't want to be disappointed. So if we do it ourselves, at least if we're disappointed, we're just disappointed in me and I and us. So, yes, you are going to be disappointed. There are times where things are not going to go the way you envisioned. And the amazing thing is that's true even if you did it yourself. It's always not going to work out the way we have it. Yes, we should have a plan. Yes, we should have a vision. And we also should know that the plan rarely works 100% the way we are laying it out. And that's okay. And a quote from the book here: control feels safer, but connection grows trust. Control feels safer in the moment because we influence it directly. We're making the decision. We can process it in our own brain. But when you trust somebody, there's a real connection that happens, and that will grow trust, which will grow into the commitment that's made, the commitment that's felt with the team, that will help with the accountability in marriage, in business. It's not a lack of conflict that builds deep relationships. It's how we handle conflict. It's being able to disagree and be able to move past that. A much better way to gauge a relationship is how well we recover from conflict, not that we never have conflict. How can we have a disagreement, have a conflict, and then continue to work together in a more meaningful way? Because now we've talked about our different viewpoints. Now we've talked about how you see it, how I see it, and we can take action knowing, okay, this is really important to me, and this is really important to the other person, and maybe they're different in some ways, but now we have a fuller picture of how the team sees it with all of our gifts and all of our gaps, and that's going to paint a fuller picture. And the third one: trust is a gift you give, not a reward people earn. We're talking about this Trust and Inspire book, and it has a trust and inspire style of leading and a command and control style of leading that the book breaks down. I have a different video that has some of my top takeaways from the books. This is specifically talking about this topic, about how two trustworthy people can have no trust between them. In command and control leadership, trust is something that people have to prove. Contrast that with a trust and inspire style leader. Trust is something that we choose to extend. It's a gift we give because we believe that people are capable of rising to that trust that we're giving. And when you surround yourself with the right people, not with the perfect people, but with the right people, trusting is a lot easier. So this isn't just dishing out trust and giving your gift of trust to, random people everywhere. And it's also knowing that there are so many people out there that are worthy of trust, that have character, that have values that align with ours. A short line from the book: people don't rise to expectations they're never given. When we have that clarity, when we say, hey, I am trusting you in this, here's why it's important, here's why it matters for me, here's why it matters for you, here's why it matters to another party that's not part of this conversation right now, whether that's kids that we're talking about, spouses are talking about trust, or you're talking to another leader on the team, and why we need to show up for the other team members, or why we need to show up for clients, or whatever that looks like. If we set that expectation, that allows people to rise up to that. And so many times as spouses, as parents, as leaders, we don't do a good job of communicating the win, the expectations. And, expectations that are not set are just tomorrow's resentment. Be very clear. Again, trust is a gift you give, not a reward people earn. Trust doesn't grow because someone earned it. Trust grows because someone gave it. Be a trust giver. If you want a life that has relationships that are deep, if you want connection that is real, you have to be willing to give trust. And don't be a person who's finding themselves continually surrounded by people that are worthy of trust, but there's no trust between you and them. Go out there, take the risk, be courageous, trust, extend trust, and be trustworthy.